And we are live. Hi, everybody. Welcome in. Michael here. In this video, excuse me, had a quick burp there. I will be getting into some of the updates that are going on with the Restaurant Revitalization Fund, SBA EIDL, all SBA news, even the SBA 8A, which you may not be familiar with. Let me see here. I have a few people who are joining in, and I'm going to cover a lot more things just about how to get up to 2 million, even plus, even more than that, and then get some bonuses on top of it, and so much more with like grants and startup opportunities out there. Let me add some people here to the stream. I know some people are trying to come in. Okay, let's actually remove this for now. And hopefully you guys are doing well today. I know some of you guys are watching from different places. I have some people trying to connect through StreamYard. Sometimes I don't add the person. Sometimes you can just watch without there being another share screen. And some of you guys are on the YouTube channel. And that's all great. I appreciate each and every one of you for being here right now and giving me your energy and your time. Now, I do have some people who have been trying to get in here, but they've removed themselves from the stream, which is okay as long as you can see and hear me. Let me know in the comment section if you're right here, right now, watching. Give me a hashtag live, give me a wave, a hello. You can also give me a hashtag replay if you're here later on the replay. But I'm going to get into some important details. I put a whole document together that I have open on a different tab through my Google Docs. So I will be using that as a reference point. But I want to know one thing. How are you guys doing? How have you been feeling today? What's been happening? Have you been working on your business, in your business? What do you have going on? It's almost Friday. What's the weekend looking like for you? Are you going out on a hike, on an adventure, staying home with your friends, seeing some, getting together with your family and doing some activities? What do you have going on? What's planned? And a lot more. So I do appreciate you guys again for tuning in at this time. Not everybody can. It is 12:03 Pacific Standard Time here in Vancouver, Washington. Let me know too, where are you guys tuning in from? And then I will get into things right now. But what I want to make note of before I go into these details is, where are you currently at in your own business? What are your current problems, your challenges? What obstacles, what roadblocks are stopping you from not only one, getting business funding, but then two, building your business credit the right way, fixing your credit? And there's so many different opportunities you can take advantage of. And that's a lot of the stuff that I cover on this channel. If you're just watching me for the very first time, it's all small business loans. We're talking about credit building, fixing your credit, taking advantage of different opportunities online. As you may already know, I have different businesses that I run as well, on top of being a loan broker, also many different other ventures I go into. Now, let me jump right into the topic of this. Let me see if I can add somebody here to the stream. Allow access is one thing, allowing stream is another. So if you guys can't hear me, great. Let me unmute the mic here from Philippe. I think Philippe just exited out, which is okay too. As long as I said you can hear me, you can see me, which is fine. The expectation wasn't to put somebody on screen at the moment, that we can move into at another video. But I want to get right into the topic at hand so we can go through these. Let me see, Felipe. Philippe, can you hear me? Good. All right, so let me see if I can move the unmute here. Okay, cool. You chose to mute yourself, which is fine. No worries. I just wanted to play around with some things. But I'm happy to see you. And let's see who is commenting. TT is saying, good afternoon, Michael and everyone. My video is buffering. Are you streaming? You're on StreamYard right now, so it may take a second. Sometimes there's a lag behind it. It's happened to me on my end, and it happens on the receiving end. So what I would do then is refresh it, try to enter the room again if you exit. It's also streaming on YouTube. If you're following me, I think that's where you're commenting from, is from YouTube, because I can see the little icon. And I don't have the tab open for YouTube because it has some streaming difficulties. It's always best to close that tab. So let's get right into it. I know some of you guys are here for a short time, not a long time. We're busy. I have things to do too. This morning, what did I do? I blogged a lot. That's usually what I do in the mornings, is my first thing. I get into that Zen mode and I get things on paper on a document. Then I have submitted some personalized and customized responses to your guys' funding submissions through my questionnaire. So I worked on a few of them, not a lot of them. Been speaking with my underwriters and my lenders today for a good extended amount of time because they're giving me some new information on new industries that I'll try to reveal in this video. But if not, it's okay. I'll try to do it another time. There's a lot to cover. Now, let me get right into this. And I know if you're not here for the Restaurant Revitalization Fund, just hang in there with me. If you're not a restaurant owner, if you don't plan to get into one, or maybe you do in the future, that's a thought, that, or you have a family and friend who may need help and they need this information that they just can't simply find by just doing a simple Google search and so forth. I'm going to share it with you and then we'll move along. So if you haven't heard, part of the omnibus package for Congress to pass on, where they were supposed to meet eye to eye in Congress within the White House, they did not want to pass on the RRF, or the Restaurant Revitalization Fund, as part of that package. So right now what's happening in the restaurant world is they're falling behind. If you haven't been following, I do. I have family owners who are in the restaurant business who were not able to get a part of that Restaurant Revitalization Fund, unfortunately. I have friends who own their own restaurants, their parents, they run them as well. And about 177,000 plus restaurants, unfortunately, did not get passed through. And it's a big issue right now because there is no eye-to-eye meeting right now. Go figure, right? It's usually what happens in politics. They don't come to an agreement. Usually one side is heavily siding with one, and then the other one is on the opposing side. And so they never come to an agreement. And so there are many issues with that. So it's been shut down as being passed as the omnibus spending bill by Congress. So not in the final version of the appropriations package or the omnibus package, and that will fund the federal government after this Friday. So Congress was facing March 11th deadline to keep the government running. Various legislative measures were taken into consideration. So given the deadline, and there were other few factors behind the Congress's decision, they kind of fell into the pressure. That's what I know happened with my sources. So it's kind of like that pressure that builds up where you have to pass a bill and they get to the end and they see that the revitalization fund is towards the bottom. And then they have to take into account, like I said, some various legislative measures that did not want them to enable it. And I don't want to go too specific into details on that because there are some things I cannot reveal that's happening. That's privacy stuff. But that is just an unfortunate, like I said, it's a downside. So the pandemic is over, like I said, for many of the people. I mean, it's still going. It's not something that is just going to go away. You've seen it with the different variants and with these changing times and these changing seasons. Restaurant owners are taking 2 to 3 steps back more than every other industry. So that is a huge concern. I know it's not so much of a surprise, especially if you're in the restaurant industry. Excuse me. I've helped out a lot of businesses in the restaurant space get funding. There's actually quite a few of them today that should be getting offers. If you're one of them, keep up the good work. I'm keeping in touch with you. I'm seeing the offers being passed through, what's being communicated with me, myself, the lenders, and the underwriters, and my full team of people who are behind all this. So continue submitting those applications if you have not. And when this video is then uploaded into the channel completely with the description, you'll see it, go in there, and you'll have a place to get these resources. But don't wait. One thing I want to let you know, aside from the Restaurant Revitalization Fund, quickly going on a tangent, when you get an application in, be 100% confident and certainty about it. So that's why I lessen the pressure by giving you guys this free 6-step pre-approval lending checklist. Whenever you guys submit a funding form or a questionnaire, or you go directly for the free 6-step pre-approval lending checklist, it has everything you need in there. And so what that's going to entail are just simple measures and steps you should know before you walk into an application, that you have 110% confidence and certainty that you will then be approved. And this is without wasting time. We're talking about days, weeks, months, and even years of sifting through old, outdated information, because the market's changed for every industry. And you can see what's happening now with the omnibus, with the bill not being passed. with Congress, what's going on in the White House, the federal government, all these things that are in place to help, but it just doesn't get passed. And this is not just for the Restaurant Revitalization Fund. We've seen this with various other programs out there, and we're unsure about what's happening in the future. There's not a lot of information on, like, for example, I'll get into the EIDL if it's opening back up, but I'll get into some of the increases in reconsideration. I'll leave more content on the SBA stuff down below in the description again in time. And I'll try to link to you guys in the comment section. If I find a minute or a moment to give it to you, I'll go ahead and do that. But again, I appreciate your time, and we're going to continue moving on here. So the restaurant owners, as I said, just to reemphasize, they keep taking these steps back, and I hear it on a daily basis. And I know the troubles. It doesn't even matter if you have, so this can help. So if you offset the difficulties by having multiple restaurants you run. So I know this from friends and family. I know this from clients, from people that I have a great personal connection with, as well as a business connection, that not because they have multiple businesses does it help lessen the pressure. It's still like a chamber, and each chamber is its own restaurant. And so it takes a huge impact and a huge setback. And that's why there's all this COVID relief that's needed. There are these things for payroll. And I released a video not too long ago, if you watched, on the statistics or the most use of funds for the EIDL, the purposes of that being payroll, and some other parts of COVID relief, to pay bills on time. It's no surprise that a lot of it is survival money. A huge percentage of it was over 50, over 60% of it. And I'm sure it may be coming to a surprise to you, not to me. I didn't even have to look at the numbers given by the loan officers and being able to get that information and pull that from them. But it's just not mind-boggling, but we're all struggling. There are moments when I'm struggling as well. And it's not only from a monetary perspective. I'm sure you're struggling from a personal perspective. Tell me if I'm wrong. Let me know in the comment section. Are you in a place right now where it is very difficult for you to, in a sense, function as a human being, not only in your business or on it, outside of it? It affects the things you do outside of that. And I get it because I've been there. I recently, this has nothing to do with getting funds, but having lost my dog Monday of last week. That's something I'm still grieving. You might think it's a little weird, but we have his ashes, and I speak to him through that, and we still have his pillow, and I thank him for everything. And it's not so much of a funding issue or a business issue, but all these little things can amount, and if you don't watch your health, it's very difficult. And yes, I'm still struggling with giving people my 100%. It's very difficult. At times, I'm trying to push through giving people at least a third of myself. And even these lives right now are very difficult for me to do because I lost my best friend and my brother, which is my dog brother, by the way. I have a younger brother. I'm the older one. Anyways, I don't want to go off on a tangent on that and keep bringing that up. But we also have other things going on, like thousands of restaurants will have to close, another 1,000 plus as a result of Congress taking in action for the Restaurant Revitalization Fund. And then Congress and the White House, really, like I just said, inside of the White House, they couldn't come into an agreement with everything happening, and it couldn't get passed as part of the bill being spent. And so moving away from the RRF into the SBA EIDL, I'm sure this is what you guys want to learn more about. Let me know if this is what you're in here for. What outcome do you want to get out of this video? Let me know in the comment section if you ever have any questions, comments, or concerns. I will try to address them as I go along. And I'll also leave a little bit of room till the end of this video so we can speak very briefly and try to get as specific about these things. But I'll try to leave some links, like I said, and then I'll also leave some of these links in the description down below when this video is fully uploaded. But if you're not tuning into this at all, well, I'm sure you are, because either you're watching this now on the live or in the replay. But what you're getting from this is something you don't get elsewhere. Sure, there are other people who can bring up SBA EIDL news, all this other stuff, but how well do they know it? Do they have personal and business relationships and have insider knowledge the way that I do? Perhaps they do. I'm not saying they don't. What I'm saying is, do they go to the extent that I do? And one way to notice that is if you submitted a questionnaire and I'll put that on the screen in momentarily. But if you fill out your funding details on that form, it lands in my email inbox where I will then analyze, evaluate it, and give you a proper response based off of that funding criteria. I can, in a way, see at face value. Obviously, there's more on the back end. Once the application gets submitted, then I go into that with my team, and I'm able to keep up to date and see what's happening along the way. And I get all these numbers and I get all this information spit back out to me, and I can go from there. But when you submit that questionnaire, I can give you a ballpark of the different programs, your best option and options that you can qualify for. And it's more of a personalized and customized approach if that's what you want. And that's what I recommend you do. There's so many online marketplaces today that just suck you in because of the quote unquote the brand, right? Because you hear it from people, you see it on Facebook being advertised, but you have to be careful because a lot of the times they harass and hassle you. You try to close an account, they're still trying to show you offers. They don't even address a different subject. And I've been there, done that. I know the psychology when you're trying to get business funding, build business credit, and go through all this because I've done this for my multiple businesses. So there's nothing I don't know. There's nothing I don't know that you're hiding. In a sense, in business, yeah, I do know, but also what's happening up here on this level. So let's continue moving forward. So there's about 35 to 34,000 plus. We're in that range now. And I'm talking about 35, 34 billion being left over for SBA EIDL funding. About $1 billion is being spent per day. If you didn't watch my video the other day, I talked about how there was about 40 billion or so left in funding, and about $1 billion of that is being spent per day. So if you do the math, I like doing my math. That's the type of person I am. That's about April 15th to the 14th through the 16th, give or take, depending on the rate of how many businesses get funding per day. That can also change, right? Keep that on the back of your mind. So there are increases still happening. Your business has 2 years from your origination date to request an increase. And again, I'm looking at my doc that I personally put together. This is not copied information or anything like that, just so you guys know. This is stuff that I get insider knowledge from and I pull from and I gather. And a lot of this is stuff that you can't just see. So I just want to make it aware to you guys what I know, and things you may not get elsewhere is what you get here on this channel and on my blog and the Facebook group. If you guys are not in there, I'll try to leave that in the comment section or in the description. So to request an increase, you have from your business has 2 years from your origination date to request an increase. And then if we're talking about reconsiderations, you have 6 months from the date of denial to request your reconsideration. And I know a lot of us are stuck in that process. I hear you guys, I see it. Make sure you're going through your portal, which is at the front end of everything. And I'm sure you've checked that. You check your boxes. You want to do the foundational steps and be deliberate on your approach when you do this, especially if it's been if it's been a process that's been pushed out for a good amount of time. And we're talking about maybe 3+ months. It's been some time. And it can depend on everybody's situation on how you get contacted, because there's so many people who are still trying to get an increase. There's people who are looking at a reconsideration, and maybe the reconsideration is looking at a lot less, but what's being focused on at the moment is the increases. Why? Because these people have already gotten funding and they haven't so much gotten a denial. So if you're getting that aha moment, it makes more sense to get somebody an increase beforehand, because this person over here, maybe they got on an average amount, you can get most people get about 120 to 140K. And there are more numbers. I don't want to get into the full number things that I see on, I have a back dashboard I can see. But there's stuff where you have to understand that the approval rate also depends on your current positioning. And your funding details matter a lot, especially if you're looking for reconsiderations and you've been denied, an account over here that's already been denied once, and the reconsideration you've submitted, you did probably make some adjustments that were necessary that you were told to make, but you're still back at square one because something changed within the tax that they're looking at, something that they're looking at your year-to-date financials, whatever they're going through, or they're seeing the last months, what's happening in the trajectory, and they kind of push these things to the side and they look at other files. That's a lot of the times what you're going to see. And I know it's not the reality we want, but that's the reality we face. So the current EIDL loan increase timeline is several weeks if you're asking for an increase of under 500,000. And I'm going to get into some numbers on, aside from the SBA EIDL, if you request in this category, and I'm going to release a video soon. I may redo one because I want to add some extra information, but because we've changed things just recently behind the lenders and the underwriters of different services. But if you're in a certain category, if you're requesting up to 100,000, what are the documents? What are the requirements? If you're requesting from 100 to 250, 250 to 500, 500 to a million plus, it changes. So I'm going to share just a little bit, and I'm not going to go into it specifically. Now, continuing with this, so let me reemphasize the current, because there's a huge sentence here. The current EIDL loan increase timeline is several weeks for you asking for an increase of under 500K, and a 1.5 month to if you're asking for more. So that's the 500 of an increase, and then a below and above. So now let's get into the SBA 8A, and then I'll continue going quickly into the S7A and then the 504 and a few other things, so I can quickly move on to that my next part of this. So the SBA 8A, you probably are not aware of this program. It's not a loan, and I'm sure that's the reason why you're not aware of it, because it's not a loan, and we're all looking at what are all the loan services, what are all the products. And on a quick side note, if you do need help understanding what all these services are, what is available, all of it broken down into you, so you can really understand, and then some comparisons. That's what I do a lot. Make sure you submit that funding form, and I'm going to go ahead and actually copy and paste that. I know you guys a lot of you have already, but give me a second. And if you've submitted one today, I may have not gone to it yet. I know I've done a few, like I said in the beginning of this video. And if you submitted it days ago, I'll get onto it. And if it's been some time, I'll try to get onto it as well. Sometimes they do pass me, so you can remind me. That'd be fine. I find nothing wrong with that. I appreciate every one of you. And so I'm copying and pasting now. I'm getting a call from Florida. I know who this is. It's a client. So I'm going to put that one to the side. And it wasn't an appointment. I'm sure they have a question about something. But like I said, I'm doing this stuff on a daily basis. If you're questioning my authority, it's okay. It's fine. I know there's a lot of people online on the YouTube channels, or if you've watched me from TikTok or in a blog post or elsewhere, it can feel a little shady. I get it. But those of you who have been watching me for a good amount of time know my journey, know who I am, and I may share a little bit about that later, but let's continue moving forward for those of you who are on limited time as well. And I know limited time, you're like 22 minutes. You're pushing it, Michael. So the SBA 8A program, which is not a loan again, designed to help businesses in underserved communities, right? So if you're in an underserved community, if you're talking about these rural areas, where you're located has a lot to do with the SBA 8A, and you are being underserved, really, and you really need help. And there's a lot of things going on in that community that are limiting your restriction from, one, it could be getting a grant, and you can also get help through there to understand what grant opportunities are more available, which I'll get into in a moment about grant opportunities. But it's designed to develop, train, and mentor businesses and business owners who want to bid on lucrative government contracts. So the requirements to some of this with the SBA 8A, and there's more to this, I just took a little bit and I added some additional notes from what's being asked from the loan officers. And again, this isn't a loan, but the SBA is all together as one. Ooh, excuse me. I had some egg earlier, and I haven't even had anything to drink. I just have a cup of faith right here, which is my tea. So be a small business, have no previous participation in the 8A program, demonstrate good character. That's something you're going to see as well, especially like this isn't a loan, but when you get into a loan, a lot of the times we look at your background. We want to know if there's any kind of bankruptcies, delinquencies, any kind of criminal record draws up a red flag. Delinquencies, it's hard kind of to look past that. Bankruptcies, how soon or how long ago it was. Criminal records, at times we can just let it slide. I've had cases where people have come through with that. And as the lenders and the underwriters have looked through it, they said, yeah, we can go ahead and finalize this. It makes sense. I mean, that was just something that they were just, happened in the past. They've learned from this. They're doing well now. So we can look at those types of components. So don't think that's a downfall to you. So demonstrate success potential, example, be in business for 2 years is just one. And there's various factors. Again, I cut this short. There are more things in this. But that's one thing you want to look at is if you have, that time in business, it really goes a long ways. And when 2 years are being asked for, that is a lot of the time what you're going to see, not only with a non-loan program, but loan programs that can qualify you for more, in this case, more access to mentorship, more access to training, free stuff. Being there first on their list goes a long ways, because even if you have less than 2 years of time in business, it can help. But it also depends on the industry, because it changes. So you have to look at those parts of the details. And here's the most important thing is be at least 51% owned and controlled by socially and economically disadvantaged U.S. citizens. So that's something to consider, and you want to keep on the back of your mind. And it's no different than when you're going to go apply for a business loan. Here's a tip. If you don't know this already, have 51% plus ownership of your business. If that's the case, then we only need one signature. If it's 50% and below, usually 49% and below, then we would require you to have more than one owner on that agreement or that application. You list their name, first, last name, could be social security number, so we can pull more information out of that. Happen to be FICO credit scores, and more bits of details. You have more than 2 owners, but you would only want to have one signature on that application is required, so not multiple ones. So now let me continue moving forward here. Create an account with, this is how you would want to approach this, and this is what I would do, is create an account with sam.gov, begin the certification process through the SBA 8A's certification website. You will want to review the certified knowledge base or for helpful info about the process, and then apply for the SBA 8A loan program, or not loan program, the 8A program, I'm so used to saying the word loan, and especially in this video now, and been helping so many people get business funding and all types. So it kind of just comes out naturally. So that's what you would expect. And then the certification you get through them is valid for 9 years. All right, so just think that through. Before you go into it, just learn a little bit more about it. And I'll try to leave information to this down below that actually goes way more in depth. But we have a lot of things to cover. It's not one specific topic I'm focused on, as you can see, so we're moving through this pretty quickly. Another thing, and I'm going to bring this on the share screen now, the employee retention credit. So now let me see. I'm going to actually use my document tab, okay, because I covered everything else on my doc. So I'm going to open it up on a new page here. I released a video not too long ago on the employee retention credit program. This is not a loan, but you can get up to $26,000 per employee if you are eligible. And I'll quickly run through those things here on this share screen, so please stick with me. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section. There is no such thing as a bad question. I'm still learning from you as well as you're learning from me. I like to learn about who you are. How's your business going? I get to learn about it a lot internally. So when a lot of people say, well, you don't understand my business, we can think that over. So let's go over here. I think it's this tab. Okay, yeah, it's this one. All right, you can see me on the bottom left. You might not be able to see the screen as full, but I'll walk you through this. So this is the employee retention credit place you can come to, and I'll try to leave this down below in the description. A lot of people have had help through this, and I'll show you a bit of the process of how it works. But you know, this COVID-19 has been a challenge for many people. I'm sure it has been for you, especially if you're using your funds for COVID relief, as I see you guys submitting that into my questionnaire. And I approach the conversation a little differently. So let me move this over. So when people ask me, does the use of funds make sense? This is a big tip right here. And I've said this a little bit in the past, and I'll try to elaborate on it. When people ask me, does it really matter what the use of funds are for? Like, do you really care about it? Not only from a business perspective do I care, but from a personal level, and then getting to understand you a little bit better, I do care a lot, and it does matter because what you use your funds for will also determine, in a way, not 100%, because we have to look at some other numbers, are your terms and your rates, and that being considered in what your total payback is. And so instead of looking at what the interest rates are and what the total payback or the rates, excuse me, or the factor rates, what you should be thinking about is what is my total payback? So I've done some number crunching today for people on what their daily, weekly, biweekly, and even monthly payments would look like. I compared them with the short, medium, and long term. And I saved an individual the other day. I was explaining to them how, yeah, sure, you'll qualify for an unsecured business term loan, but these are the interest rates, the medium to high from a 25 to 50%, in some cases even more. And if you don't get within the range you want, we might have to look at some type of secured asset type of collateral to put up to get a secured business term loan, which not a lot of people want to go for, which is not what I would want to lead in with, to be honest with you, unless there are different things we have to talk over, if that would make sense before I even come to that conclusion. But this individual, and I have multiple ones that I'm going to be addressing this to as well. I compared a short term with a longer term, or a short term with a medium and then a longer term. And we're talking about medium being like 2 to 5, long term probably being like 2 to 25 or 5 to 25, as you can probably already notice with the EIDLs and other types of SBA loans. I'll get into the 7As, 504s in a bit. But I saved this individual about 13 to 20,000. And this wasn't a prepayment penalty type of thing. And we're not talking about early payment discounts. If they were added, you can put that into the contract. It's not always guaranteed. You just have to look at the contract. And so having saved them that amount of money, and that's time better well spent, money that can be used elsewhere. And I understood how much they actually needed in time. They qualified for more, but instead of getting them between like 12 to 24 months or even 2+ years, it made more sense to get them somewhere between 11 to 13 months. So don't always take everything as it is. Understand that there are adjustments to this. The other day, I just helped somebody get funding that they didn't want. Okay, this individual got offered $8K initially. This is just one of many, by the way. And so he didn't want to take his offer. I get it. I understood why he wouldn't have done it. And I knew from when he got that offer, he wasn't going to take it. I laid out everything in that email that would make sense, and I'm sure he got that knowledge. This is insider knowledge on these emails, by the way, that I respond back to when you submit your questionnaire. But this individual then came back and was offered an extra 4K. So, hey, you're at 12K now, and guess what? He took the offer. So if you're watching right now, and I won't say the name, congratulations. I've yet to go and congratulate you on your funding and give you over 13,000, more or less. Maybe not over 13. It depends on the amount of funding you get. In bonuses, though, you get free exclusive bonuses coming through me when you get these. So I'm going to show that soon, and I'm going to try to get done here within the next 10 or so minutes. There's so much to cover, but now let me move back into the share screen here. And again, like I said, any questions, leave them for me in the comment section. Reach out to me privately if you would like. I know a lot of people want me to get on calls with them. There's a time and a place for that. We're all business owners. We can set up an appointment, 1 or 2. It's best to submit that funding questionnaire again that I just left you guys in the comment section. It'll be in the description below. That will save you a lot of time. You and I, a lot of energy and time. And everything that's put into that email, a lot of the times, we don't even have to get on the call, to be honest with you. Let me move this. Yes, we can get on the call if it's that high of an importance, but everything you see in that email based on the funding criteria you've given me, and it's not an application. This is where I'm giving you a personalized and customized approach. Everything you're going to need is in there. And then I can say some things in the email, yeah, you may not qualify for, but here are the options anyways. Or if you moved from this level to this level, I'll still try to communicate that how it works and the qualifications of that program and those lenders, etc. So back into this. The employee retention credit, as I said, COVID-19 has been a huge challenge for myself or yourself. And I put you guys before anything, just so you guys know this very quickly. I said this the other day. I did a quick TikTok live, and I may do that after this, a quick one just to emphasize this. but I didn't even have lunch. And I think it was like 2:30, and I just realized I didn't even have lunch. I'm like, oh, it's 2. Oh, I didn't even have lunch. How crazy. And there are days where that happens because I'm so committed to helping you guys. Unlike anybody else out there who maybe is just looking for a quick buck. That's not what I'm in it for. It's not to me about, I get it, it's a business. It's not so much of a great impact to me on the financial scheme. I have a mission, I have values here, and I work at this with deliberate practice and focus, as so you guys should in your own business or businesses. Do not take your gas off the pedal. Continue to push yourself forward. So the world has been shutting down as we know it, and there's been all these stalls, and we've been holding, or halts, excuse me, holding back of pushing forward because you don't want to take a huge impact. I just had an individual decline an offer because they can't take those extreme measures of the terms and the rates and the amount they were getting for. No, it would have been a cash flow problem, and I understand that. They probably didn't qualify for a line of credit. That may have been a better opportunity for them, but this is just how the world works. You have better funding details, you get better funds. So many businesses and business owners like yourself, I'm sure you're having trouble with this. And again, feel free to let me know, what is your hugest concern you have right now with getting business funding or building business credit? What's holding you back from that final push to move forward? And so you have to take a lot of caution, and I don't blame you. I found myself in that situation getting business funding myself. And I've started from the bottom, like a lot of you may have. Maybe you haven't. Maybe it's self-funded, angel investors. I come through a lot of that. So as we begin to get back into the swing of things with all these variants happening, and we're not 100% there yet, the mandates and the way our government here is happening here in Washington and as well as in Oregon, the masks coming down as well as on a lot of the other parts of the U.S. all around. But normacy is not really a word we use lightly anymore. So there are several government programs to assist with this. The one that was in front of the ERC program, the Employee Retention Credit, was the PPP. And right now there's a lot of uncertainty with that, with the amount of draws happening there. If you haven't received that, I won't get into the PPP in this video, but over time, again, there's not much to talk about anyways. So I'll get into that in time if it comes back up or any new updates. So you can get up to $26,000 per employee, available for 2020 and Q1 through Q3 2021. So the March deadline is coming up. And so there are some things you can do, even though it says Q3 2021. But there have been some exceptions, just so you know that. I know it's 2021, where it may be considered. But post that time, it is going to be a little bit difficult to get in and try to get this. So qualify with deceased revenue or COVID event, no limit on funding. ERC is not a loan. ERC is a refundable tax credit. So I won't speak too much about this. There's another video about it where I go into it way more in depth. But the begin qualifying button is right there. And then you can see some qualifying questions before you begin. Please read completely the disclaimer and some parts of the CARE Act. And then you would click on like this next button. Did you pay any W-2 wages in 2020 or 2021? And what it's calculated upon. So something like this, we can click there and company name. And I just put mine there. And when did you start your business? Select the answer below, before February 15, 2020, after February. So we'll just quickly do this. I'm not consciously looking through all this, just so you guys know. I'm just kind of going through it quickly. How many full-time employees did you average in 2019? And so forth. So if we're going to continue going here, my business averaged less than 100 full-time employees in 2019. Just depends on the answers you select there. So move on here. The following screens will present 3 different ways that your company can qualify for the employee retention credit. Answer a few questions. Qualification option number 1 says here, revenue reduction. And I've already gone through this stuff myself. So this will save you time. So there are going to be those 3 options, and I'll try to leave the other video if the other one doesn't go out in depth into that, but this is what you'll come into, and you'll want to continue through the process of this. So continue to move there. 2021 Q1 review revenue qualifier, make your selection below, excuse me. Go forward, 2021 Q2 revenue qualifier. Again, I'm just kind of going through this. And then Q3, as we know. And then qualification number 2, supply chain disruption. So there's a few things with the ERC program you have to go through. Now let me move this out of the screen. And then I think my next topic of conversation would be grants very quickly. So now let me move this document over here to this tab, and then we're going towards the end. But the SBA 7A, the SBA 504/CDC program, if I didn't get into that, the thing is, you don't have to rely on the EIDL. I have numerous of people right now waiting in line to get an SBA 7A through me. And it's not as simple as going to the government website and getting started there. Sure, there's that possibility, but you have to look at what benefits are out there and what advantages you get that I have that other people won't give you. And it is all legitimate. So there are different ways of looking at the process of however you want to use those funds for. So it might be to get some type of land for a real estate purpose, purchasing equipment, machinery. I've helped out people of all sorts get those types of fundings. And it's just an amazing feeling. And this is why I love doing this for you guys. Like I said, I didn't even have lunch yesterday. I might not even have lunch later today again after I go live, however long that is. I'll take a break and then go do that for my sanity, right? So over here, let me move this over. We have the grant opportunities for 2022, and this will be updated over time. There are a few more I need to add to this that I've been going through with my sources who have been sending me this, with my connections that I get them a lot beforehand before they even come out. But we have some minority-owned business grants for 2022. Just above that, more or less the same grants.gov, Home Depot grants. You have the SKIP grants program, one of the highest ones that I recommend you get on, about 1,000 plus given out. SBDC, which is the Small Business Development Center, Women's Business Grants, Amber Grant, a huge one, the SoGal Grant, iFund Women Grant, Invoice to Go Now Grant, one of the, I wouldn't say the most new one, but it's been on there for quite some time. And then you have, again, the minority-owned business grants of 2022, things like Backstage Capital, Amazon's Black Business Accelerator Program, Comcast Rise Program, a great one that I've looked into it for myself. For other purposes and for business owners and for my friends and family. Freed Fellowship, grants.gov, iFund Women of Color Grant, Wish Local, Grow by Invoice to Go Grant Program, Her Rise, a very huge one. If you haven't checked out that one, make sure to go through it. And I won't go in through these individually, but you can see there on a little bit of the drop down. If you click those, you go through that page. New England Black Owned Business, Merchant Maverick Opportunity Grant. They so Merchant Maverick, they're a very special one that I hold closely to my heart. They've reached out to me, gave me a lot of recognition. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Merchant Maverick, but I have a good connection with them. Very popular. They are a website that compares different loan services. And so I got in touch with them, but they actually got in touch with me more so. And they were telling me, great things and how they wanted to help me out. And it's not so much of a sponsorship that I'm doing with them or anything like that. So don't think that's what it is. It's just a connection that I have and how ways I can help you in ways that other people can't. So where you think you're getting, when you're going to a direct lender, there's times for it. There's a place and a time for it. And there's a better place and a time through going through a brokerage that can connect you with multiple offers, the best stop offer. And that's what I recommend a lot of the times. Instead of going to a direct lender and instead focusing on going through a brokerage that can connect you with possibly those lenders, but a little bit more indirectly, but the chances of you getting the best offer are much more up here because we're going through, multiple ones. And that is a lot better. And then you get a lot of benefits of coming to this side as opposed to over here. You may have the qualifications, but you may not get the best rates. You may not get the best terms. They might get you a cut where you don't get the most amount of funding that you would want. Instead, you're now getting, if you're thinking you get 150,000 over here you might get less than that. You might get 100,000. They might give you a little bit differently. They might give you a little bit more in terms. It depends again, but you have to think about, again, at the end of the day, the payback, and are you getting enough funding? Is that extra 50,000 for a little bit more going to be worth it to you at the end of the day? All right, so think about those things. Now, moving over here again, and then we're going to kind of close up. Minority Business Development Agency, the National Associate for the Self-Employed, Native American Business Development Institute, Operation Hope Small Business Empowerment Program, Power Forward Small Business Grant, an amazing one. Office of Minority Health Grant Programs. And then if you need more funding help, you can download our free 6-step pre-approval lending checklist. I'm sure some of you guys have already. But if you guys want me to get in touch with you to get business loans, cash advances, building business credit, or anything like that, particularly business loans, it's in the comment section. I'll leave it in the description below so you guys can get started with filling out your funding form, your questionnaire, excuse me. And so I'm going to open up another tab over here and show you guys a little bit about a great program that I recommend for each and every one of you. And for startup funding, this is tied in with the grants in case everybody was like, well, where's the startup? There is no one size fits all solution. There's an equation that I have to put together for most people, especially when people ask for APRs. I usually have that off the top of my mind. I know how to, it's a bit complex, but I have it down. And I know based upon your details what all that entails. But like I said, again, if the interest rate isn't what you desire, do you have a different service that you can go and apply to? And if you can't right now, what does that option look like? I have a lot of people who, I don't know, they say they want funding and they say, hey, can we speak again at this time? And I reach out and there's still no word. And it's just a very polite and cautious thing. It's just I ask, hey, I just was checking in to see how you are doing. And wondering if you were still interested in getting business funding. I know you said we wanted to speak again maybe on this topic. And then sometimes people don't even like show up. So one thing I want to say to that before I show you where you guys can go get funding that I recommend as like one of my number one recommended places for a variety of different uses. Be punctual. Don't waste my energy and don't waste my time. I have multiple businesses I run. I wear multiple hats in my businesses. My energy and my time is the most valuable thing I have in this world. We all have things going on. We all make excuses. But that's just what it is, an excuse. And so the more you bring up these excuses, the more you're putting one, pressure on yourself because you have to make up for that. And then two, it's hard to trust somebody like that because these excuses then turn into inaction. They turn into you not following through with what you think or say you are going to do. So it does say a lot about you. And so I want to be leveled and I want to make sure that who I'm dealing with behind that screen, whether I meet with you in person, whether I have a phone call with you, it's very polite. I'm not pressuring anybody to get anything. I could care less if you take it, to be honest with you. Not like in a bad way, like I don't care. What I'm saying is if you see everything that you need, now the ball is in your court. I've done what I can and I'm going to help you along the process, but it's ultimately what you want to do. I'm just informing you. I'm giving you the value you need. When you have an offer presented to you, I'll communicate it with you. I can elaborate on why you got that offer. I can be more specific about different scenarios, but it's not the energy. And I spoke to an individual the other, like 2 weeks ago. No need to bring them up anymore, really, unless you're here watching. But it was like a past 2 to 3 days. I didn't hear anything back. They filled out my funding form. And I said, if you're serious about it, then fill it out. I'm not like a Lendio. I'm not like a lending tree where you just submit something, create an account. This is very serious stuff. And you get very personalized information that's confidential between you and I that you wouldn't get elsewhere. And it's how it's broken down. And so this individual had the audacity to just say on the call, and they didn't mean it, and like I don't think they meant it in a bad way, but they, throwing the word up like I guess, like I just said, hey, this is Michael, the loan broker. How are you doing? And it wasn't a good time. So, is this a good time? I just wanted to tell you, I left you an email on your funding details. I replied back, and I also sent you a text message. Did you happen to check those out? And days have passed by. No, and they said something like in the words of I guess. And so that's kind of when I like shut off a bit because it doesn't show. And even if that's not the way it was meant, it's the way it was in your tonality. So I catch these things when I hear it. I've been given big ears for a reason. No, I'm kidding. I don't want to get into that. But yeah, I mean, I listen more than I speak. Now, you guys see me speaking here, but I'm an introvert and I listen and I'm very observant. And there's no one thing that passes really where I can understand why people don't follow through with what they say they'll do or the information that's presented to them. Because I've also been in your position. So a company here you can get funding through. I highly recommend you guys take a hard look here if you haven't already with David Allen Capital Inc. Now we can get you up to $2 million incredibly fast funding, and even up to $25,000 with same day instant approval funding with as little as a 450 plus FICO, with at least 4 plus or 6 plus months in business. At least 5,000 plus monthly coming in is all we ask for. No lender will go less than that. It's too high of a risk. It's already very high risk if it's up to 25K in a lot of cases. If it's an automated process, that's what you would want to go through. We can do manual processes. And I just got a lady the other day with multiple other people on the same day, and I will be continuously doing that today. But a lady the other day who was very nice, great human being. She got funding for about 150,000 plus, and we got her in and out fast. I don't even think it was 2 days. I think it was within a day. Just had to look through some information. And there's another one we could do same day, but qualified for what, over 600,000, but didn't want to go through. Oh, and this brings me up to my next point, and this is what I really want to get into. So qualified for 600,000. I think I'm going to be sending them the bonuses that they qualify, and I'll show you. Stick around. I'm going to show you those bonuses in a moment. They qualified for funding for 600K, but supplemental documentation is necessary at that point, and then the process of then getting those funds can take sometimes a week, maybe sometimes a little bit more in some cases. So having to supply year-to-date financials, we're talking about profit and loss statements, balance sheets, possible credit, recent credit reports, years of tax returns, sometimes not even two. We're not talking a lot of the time SBA related. But when you get higher in amounts of funding, like especially with the 500,000 and above to 1 million, you're speaking about at least a year's worth plus 2 years worth of tax returns, depending on what we have to see. And sometimes it's not always like has to be the latest, right? We could probably look at a year before that. So those are some benefits, some tips as we're getting right there. And so 600K, wanted to take 150,000, totally cool with it. She may come back and then get more funding in time, which was what I would do if I needed 600, if I needed a lot, more than 150,000, and I knew what those funds were going towards, it's a no-brainer. So what you guys should think about, like this lady has, and a lot of people before me and a lot of people who will, is, yeah, take what you can get. And I put that in the email for you guys, like, hey, if this is not enough, then this is what I recommend. And there's some tips in there where I recommend if you get a lump sum, you can even put a line of credit on top. And or if you take a line of credit, then maybe we approve you for more funding. Maybe you get 100,000 in a line of credit, but then you get over here 200,000 with funding. There's different ways that can be calculated. And then you're like, that's how I can get to my 300,000. Or I can wait and then come back in about 45 to 65 days when you pay off about 50% of your advance or / loan. Then we can look at refinancing the situation. But I have people from all different types of industries. I actually have an individual right now in the real estate who's looking for land and the amount that they need. We can't help them because of the minimum requirement. It's really what you see from all lenders of what they want for that and the property. So we're looking at different avenues of possibly getting them a personal loan or some revenue-based / MCA loan. So I've yet to hear from them. If you're here watching that, I won't say your name, but please, I sent you an email. I may send you a text message really quickly to make sure that you know that it's there. But you want to take a look at that and see. I know you're probably thinking it over. You're probably like, that's not what I wanted to do. I'm going to keep looking around. And I'm going to be honest with you. You keep looking around, you're going to get more or less the same thing. And I have people who very quickly are like, well, they come to me and they're like, I thought I was going to get a different quote unquote experience, a different experience. And that can mean a whole lot of things. But what they're saying is the offer experience. Like, I thought I would get something better over here as opposed to this. Well, the credit wasn't where it needs to be. And the thing is, I'll have to speak to them in probably later today, but I have to clarify how FICO is looked at, the different credit bureaus, how all that works, and the system that lenders actually look at can be different than what you pull out from your Experian, your Equifax, TransUnions. Even not all the time when we go through all the whole Dun and Bradstreet, depends on the service. So with DAC, we're just asking for your personal credit score. It doesn't even get reported to the credit bureaus, the main one being Dun and Bradstreet there. And that's a huge advantage. Even if you qualify with business credit, this is an amazing opportunity for you to take advantage of. It's very fast. You can get better rates and terms, better qualifications, better benefits. And it's not always about getting a loan that always helps build business credit. A lot of people look at that, and there is a time and a place for it, especially if you're qualified. But again, it's about understanding what's your best positioning. And you don't always have to use it for it. If you want to learn how to build business credit, I'll try to leave that in the description. There's a free video series for you to pick up. And probably already do have it, and that's how you got here to this live. Now let's continue moving forward into this post. And I'm going to leave the bonuses in the comment section in a moment so you guys can view them all. But up to $2 million incredibly fast funding we can do for all types of industries. Very simple qualifications if you're doing the manual DAC up to $2 million. All we ask for is that you're doing 15,000 plus per month in revenue. Here, let me move this over. Sorry. And if you're not doing 15,000 plus per month in revenue, and usually it's the last 3 months, and on average we want to see that number up, then we have the up to 25,000 service through Bank Breezy. Now, a lot of you have been commenting, and I will try to get back to you guys. Like I said again, everybody, a lot of people have been trying to get a hold of me, and I will comment, whether it's email, whether it's on YouTube. Guys, it's a lot of it is just me behind this, so I get it. I mean, you want to get your answers. I'm doing my best. Please be patient with me. I appreciate each and every one of you, whether you are patient or not. You guys are all like family to me. And again, this is all for you. And I'll demonstrate that in a moment with also the bonuses that I'm going to show you. So get up to 25,000 a day, instant approval, same day funding. You just need 5,000 plus in monthly bank revenue is all we ask for this service. The other one was 15K, and it used to be 20K. And so a business checking account, 6 months in business, a 450 plus FICO credit score, and then all industries are included. One thing I want to make note of. Now, there's a service that we also have for the up to $2 million with a 500 plus FICO credit score. Listen to this very carefully. The industries have been changing. The market landscape, what the lenders want, a lot of them pull away from just a low 500 FICO credit score. Not every single industry, not every lender, but having very bad credit, in some cases just too close to 500 can limit you. A lot of people pull away, especially like one of my previous clients who did not want the funding that they were going to get. And then I had another person just decline about 25K. I'm pretty sure they wanted something more. And I have yet to communicate the process with them. And I don't pressure anybody. I just inform you. But like everybody thinks that you're going to get a better offer elsewhere. And it's contrary to popular belief, especially when you're getting offers from the best lenders out there available. Then the reason you're thinking that is maybe because you have other positions. And that's that's one of the biggest reasons, is because you maybe have different positions with your MCA or your line of credit. And you go to companies that say, we can help fulfill on a 6th to 20th position. Good luck with that. And to be honest with you, you may not get anything. And it brings back the thought, if you got 15K with your third positioning over here, you got maybe 25K, and then it's 20K, and then 30K with your third positioning, and then or 15K, and then you're seeing the trend, maybe you'll get 10K. That's not always the case. You may not get anything at all. And I've seen that a lot of the times. I've helped people out with all this, with buying out their loans. We can do that here with David Allen Capital. I can help you do that with anybody else that I would recommend. But let's continue moving on here in this process. And this is a great place to come to and turn to, because like I said in the beginning, if you just tuned in, you can get multiple offers. Who does not want multiple offers? Raise your hand if you would rather have somebody show you that you can get multiple offers, as opposed to, like I do this still to this day. And there are specific clients that I helped do this, where I can just send you directly to the lender, pull back some further documentation before everything is submitted. But the process sometimes takes forever, one. And then two, the cut you get, I'm not thinking about myself. Honestly, I don't care about what I'm making. I really don't, honestly. Like, I detach myself from any of that. You guys need to understand that it's not for me at the end of the day about the income. It's about making sure that you guys are taken care of and nothing bad is happening to you. Sure, there's some kind of compensation. Oh, so be it. But what I'm looking at is, are you being well taken care of? How are you doing health-wise in your life, and how are you doing in your business? So now let me move forward with this. We're going to come down here. Need more than 25K. Here's an amazing thing too, guys, and I'm going to get into the bonuses, and we're going to end this video. I know we got a little bit longer. Those of you watching, warriors all day. And so we have a line of credit program here. We just hit the hour mark. You're like, what? So again, you guys are the best. And as we continue to grow this channel and as we continue to move forward, I'm going to be continuously bringing on more things you don't see. And I'm trying to bring on like lenders and underwriters and more things that are continuously changing. So that may be something in the future with a lot more behind the scenes stuff that you guys don't get. So the business line of credit program we have at the moment is for 5,000 to 100,000, but that number can change over time. It might be 500,000, it might be 200, 300, it might be even more. So there's a huge advantage of coming through here. Receive a decision in one business day or a little bit more. Usually it's a business day. And as fast as 1 hour, requiring only a soft credit pull, as low as a 550 FICO. Look out there. A lot of the times at 600, yeah, we can make an assessment and say 500 makes sense, 550 makes sense to you. Fueling business growth, better fee structures, a lot better fee structures, to be honest with you. And if you received my customized email, you would have seen all this. How does it all work? You can receive an approval. Take funds out as you need. Automatically pay weekly. New draws and revolving limits. So for those of you suffering with cash flow, this is a great thing to take advantage of. Even if you're not, then this is something you can still take. Maybe you want a lump sum because you know where that's going towards. If you know where that lump sum is going towards your project or your projects, you're going to fulfill on that, take the lump sum. That's what I recommend you do. With the line of credit, you can use it in a similar way. It can prepare you for the next season. It can prepare you for possible cash flow difficulties or emergency funds if you don't have any of that at the moment. So this is stuff that I speak to you and I transfer this message, and there's a lot more behind that. Those are just 2 examples. So there's a lot of benefits. I'm telling you guys, if you guys not have submitted those forms for the questionnaire. So that is in here. Do you qualify? For this, we're looking at a year's plus worth of business. I know there's other ones out there, but a lot of the times they don't get you enough or you don't qualify for those. Anywhere in the United States, 550 personal FICO score, 15K plus in monthly revenue is just what we're asking for. So similarly to our lump sum funding. And there's some other things if in business for less than 2 years, and there's some other things you can look at. But I'll try to leave this again down below in the description so you can view the more thorough program. And if I've done an assessment for you guys, this is all in that email. You guys are losing out big time if you're not looking into your email that I sent you. And please don't make an excuse that I couldn't find it because you did not look in your spam box and you did not use the search feature, right? We have to be problem solvers. We're not just business owners. Put your entrepreneur hat and don't be lazy, and please go into it. It'll do a lot of good. And so it's, again, comes back to that whole, let's save each other some energy. Let's save each other the time. And let's be resourceful. Be resourceful. And so over here, let me move my screen over. If you guys want to learn more about the application processes, that's also in that follow-up that I've sent you. If you've submitted a questionnaire, but it'll look something like this. You might be able to go to a link where it shows you the application process. And I've yet to add some new things, but you can see that there with the different services we have, and it's very thorough and broken down. So if you ever have any questions about how the process works, it's all in there. What does the applications look like? Because I get it. Look, I don't know what I'm submitting. It's an online application. Sure, it's streamlined, hassle-free, but do I have to link my banking information? Is it safe enough for me to give you your bank statements? This is all safe and secure. And you can trust in this. It works very well and it's fast. And again, if you have questions about it, it should already be in your package that I send you when you submit your questionnaire. Funding details when I reply back. So let me move this over and then I'll get into the bonuses and then close up here. So this is all in there. And again, this can be changed over time, but you're getting all that information. There's a video there. You can even watch that I would recommend if you're going for the manual DC up to 2 million. And a lot of people have already come through this and thanked me that it came through. And I'm very grateful and humble of that. I try to go as far as possible with you guys as I can. But here it is. And then let me move this over. There's also a bonus thing that I give to people. So I'm going to show you guys that on the screen in just a moment. And then we'll close up here. I think I have everything. And I'll probably show you the contact form at the end. But that's not it. 1 second. This is it. So there are advantages of coming through me and getting business funding. One of these being that you can get exclusive free bonuses. This is over 13,000 at the moment, but it's actually well over that. It's probably over 22,000 by now. But these are all the bonuses you are going to get when you get funding through me. And one, they just don't apply to DAC or David Allen Capital. They can apply to various other places, but DAC is what I recommend you go through, especially if you're looking for all types of working capital, expansion funding, COVID relief, all these different types. But there are a lot of bonuses and a lot of value that comes through getting business funding through me. So I won't go into it specifically on what these bonuses are, but there is this video that I'll link to you guys in the comment section right now, so you guys can take a look, and I'll leave this also in the description because I've said this in other places as well. But you get things like one of those being my Facebook Accelerator course. You guys get information on how to build things organically with paid traffic, Google, SEO, blog, local ranking, Google advertising, everything YouTube related. You get a lot more than that. You can get a free vacation package. You can get free restaurant vouchers from 100 to 200 more or less. You can get even hotel savings, hotel bookings, different credit card purposes. There's so many advantages to even more so grow and expand your business, scale it. There's a lot of stuff in there like social media guides and templates, stuff that works very well. My connections, maybe even a marketing plan, perhaps. You get my Rolodex. You get access to people who can do work for you. I'm sure that's something you guys want, right? Do you guys want somebody that can help you guys? You can outsource this to somebody else and say, hey, can you create for me a funnel? Can you create for me this website? Can you create for me this landing page? Can you really help to get some people to write this for me? You can bet on that. So there's a lot that comes with it. But again, that's already in the description or in the comments, excuse me. And now I'm going to leave this video with one last thing, which is my form. Let me transfer this over and show you guys what this will look like the most up to date. And you guys can refer back to this and review the video in time as it's going to be uploaded into the channel. And I should broadcast it out to you guys. So get the funding your business needs. Complete the form, or I could say questionnaire form below to get a personalized and customized email response for your best funding options. Plus get a free 6-step pre-approval lending checklist to get you approved for funding much faster. So this simple questionnaire, it's not an application again. It is where I'm going to be following up with you and giving you a very thorough email. If you guys have gotten it, you guys know. So it's going to show you things like your name, your email, phone number, mobile preferred, just so I can follow up with you. Funding amount requesting, time in business, please specify if it's years or months. FICO credit score, that's not going to hurt. Let me put this out of the way. That does not hurt. It's just between you and I. This is all confidential. I never release this to anybody until you go and submit an application. And this is stuff that we can discuss before you go and do all that. You have my free 6-step pre-approval lending checklist. So really there are limited questions asked. And a lot of the times when people come to me to ask a question, it's just to reiterate something or just to reemphasize, and they just want to make sure. And I get it. It's fine. And so over here, do you have established business credit? It's okay to say yes or no. No then tells me, okay, you're gonna be limited on getting this type of funding, especially if it's like recently I just had some people in the equipment financing space shut down because they didn't have enough credit history. That's the thing. There's a lot of different reasons why you can get shut down with FICO and business credit established. It's not only because of payment history. It can be because you haven't built enough. You don't have enough trade lines, right? You haven't worked enough with these vendor programs. You haven't taken the right approach. And there's a lot more discrepancies. And I won't get into like repairing all that. It's a whole different subject of its own. I'll try to leave some material down below. But there are different reasons for all of this. And then monthly sales, least amount in the last 3 months. Reason that's asked for, I can make a better evaluation. Average monthly sales within the last 3 months. So we can take the two. Excuse me. I don't know why I'm getting all that. But we can take the monthly sales within the last 3 months and then the lowest month within the last 3 months, will average and then lowest, and then make an evaluation on what realistically you can get before you go and you submit your application. I'm going to put you in the ballpark And I'm going to give you a lot more besides the numbers on pro tips and things that you should be doing and looking at instead of, like I said, again, for one example, just the interest or the rates. So average monthly sales, use of funds, drop down here. Please take the time to look through this. Don't just say, oh, I don't want to look through it. Just click one, whatever. But look over this because I need to know what the use of your funds are. If it's completely different if you tell me you want to purchase an existing business and you want expansion. It could be the same thing, but I don't know that. There's two different ways I have to approach that. I want to get factoring invoices. Okay, maybe you just need a form of invoice factoring then. And even if you don't factor invoices, then I can still try to present that option to you. Okay, COVID relief. Oh, that may mean you need a lump sum could work, but maybe a line of credit. So I'm going to go hard on that line of credit for you. And I'm going to show you the best option and the best options. There are multiple programs possibly, but there might be just one that I recommend the most. So you got to take that into consideration. Business industry, business name, helpful. I want to get to know you guys. This isn't for me to like send this information and be like, haha, I'm being deceptive. No, those of you guys who know me well enough to know I wouldn't do that. And so I love getting to know you guys. Like, seriously, I will take this information. I will take this information and then I will like look at it and say, hey, that's Sherry. That's from this company. That's cool stuff. Like I go into the website and I get to know more and I get to understand the business a little bit more. And I go, oh, okay, I know what's happening here. And then getting to understand you more. Like just recently, I made some connections again on LinkedIn with a few people that have been commenting back. But I go above and beyond, you guys. Like I try to take my time. There's nothing that should be rushed into. So now let me move this back and we'll close up here. So business name, we have additional notes, anything you'd like to add, example, exact use of your funds, expectations, etc. About us. So you want to learn a little bit more about myself, our services. There are more than that, but I just put just a little bit about that, how it works. And then you get to see this, like fill out the simple funding form or the questionnaire. It's not an application. And analyze, well, I'll analyze myself and evaluate your funding details to give you a very comprehensive response for your option or options. And to make sure you are getting the best solution anywhere. Doesn't matter, anywhere. I'm telling you, anywhere. Like there's so much of this that's going behind the scenes, guys, that if you were to see it, it'd be like, oh, whoa. Like, okay, that doesn't make sense. It is the best thing I'm getting. So you will receive an in-depth email showing you what it takes to qualify, how it works, and where to get started with these. And that'll be coming through me. I take my time every day to put these together. And again, I put energy and time into these, so please be appreciative of it and go check it out. Step 2, get pre-approved for funding. As a bonus, you're going to get this free 6-step pre-approval lending checklist when you submit your details for funding. This way you can know for sure with 100% confidence and certainty you can get approved, right? Step 3, you get approved and funded. Simple as that. Go put your application in. You get that email with the application link after everything I've shown you. Sometimes we can take out the process of that and then do email by email. But wouldn't you rather, let me ask you this, and you can put this in the comment section with a yes or a no. Would you rather somebody email you with a full in-depth email with everything I need to know all in one place that I can go back and refer to, as opposed to having like 5 to 7 outdrawn emails where I'm asking you about the qualifications, you qualified, okay, let me send you about how this works, okay, you understand that, let me send you another email about, let me know if that's what's best, or I can change it. Every single person is a bit different. And sometimes the process can be pushed out in that direction where we just can do multiple things. But for a lot of this, you're going to be given a big email. And this is like atrociously like helpful to you. And even if you don't need funding right this second, you're going to say, hey, at least I know what I'm going to get or what I can qualify for if I have better funding details. Most definitely. And you won't be duped and you won't be going somewhere where somebody's just trying to call you time and time again from New York, from Florida, from New Delhi, wherever it is, and you're constantly being hounded on, because I don't do that. Honestly, I'm not a salesperson at all. So you guys can feel rest assured. I'm just like you guys, just trying to run my business, trying to help my customers, my audience. You guys are trying to do the same for your customers and try to make the most impact you can. Always strive for that. Now, there might be a video down here. You can click to submit your funding details. It'll bring you up here so you can get started, submit it. And then some of you guys who have already gone through this, you guys can go through like a quick thank you page, and then you guys can go from there. Like I've had people today, to be honest with you, I've had people today who are on top of it like that. Like they submitted this form, application done, funding same day, gone. And I didn't even get a chance to like send an email, like congratulate. Like by the time they had all that completed, I was like, whoa. And it's not always going to be the case. And then there's times where it might not be a same day funding, so it can be in a day to two in a week, depending on the needs of your file. But people are on top of it. Once you submit this through, you can just boom, 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 go to the next thing, qualified. Boom. Do I qualify for this service? Boom. Do I want this more? Do I want that more? Boom. Move forward in the process, and I'm going to communicate with you along the way. I'm going to make you that promise for sure. I'm there for everybody who gets before you even get funding. I'm going to be taking care of you, and I'm going to be giving you tips, things you don't hear from the underwriters and the lenders. So that's what I do, and that's how I can help you guys. So that being said, that will conclude everything in this video. Man, we went an hour and 15. I don't even do video, to be honest with you. Like blogging is my main thing. To be on for this long, I didn't think so. But Thursdays are generally my heaviest days. I just don't want you guys to expect it to be an hour's plus worth every single time. So that will conclude everything from me in this video. Do you guys have any questions? Please leave them for me. Any help you guys need. Like again, we cover everything on this channel. We're talking about small business loans, all types of business loans, cash advances, building business credits, the right ways, personal credit building, fixing credits, taking advantage of different opportunities, possibly other business models you want to venture into that I have a wealth of experience in before this as well. Then you guys can learn more about that. I have had business owners come to me saying, I want to learn how you do that business. I want to add on top of that, but I never really understood it, or I just didn't do it right. So I can help you with those details, and we can go along the way. But just take baby steps. Don't rush yourself. And I'm here anytime you want. I'm like literally, I'm right here. Like I'm not in an office where I'm like with 150 people. Literally at home doing this. So that is going to conclude everything from me. Look in the comment section for those links. Any questions, leave them for me. And everything else will be in the description in due time when this is uploaded. I appreciate each and every one of your guys' time. Maybe you're watching this when you're doing something while you're doing something else. Thank you all, and talk to you guys soon.